Hello everyone, my name is Razin, and welcome back to Let's Play Kyuuyaku Megami Tensei II. Last episode, we attempted to access Astaroth's castle, but unfortunately, as we frolicked through the flowery fields in front of the castle, we unfortunately fell victim to a hypnosis spell that he had planted there as a trap for us. So, as we were helpless, he flew down in his full nude glory atop his weird serpent mount pet thing, kidnapped Asuka, called Takuma a nerd, and it was just not a good time. So Takuma doubled back around to the beginning area of the Forest of Confusion. We then proceeded to recruit Susanoo, who was dicking around in the forest, and then went back to Astaroth's castle. Never ended up summoning Susanoo or making use of him at all, because the rest of our party was just better. Beat up Astaroth and freed Asuka in the process, and also laid claim to yet another orb that is going to allow us further progress throughout the demon world. Yeah, pretty action-packed and eventful episode last time, and I gotta say, the rest of this game is pretty eventful as well. The back end here is something I'm very interested to dive into and discuss now that we're right at the front of it here. So, one thing you're going to see me doing a lot, and you have already seen me do a lot, is use these terminals to warp to the Crazy Village, and then use that, go from the Crazy Village to the Shrine whenever I want to fast travel between these areas. And the reason I'm doing that is simply because, for most parts of the Demon World, you don't reach the village until you get a little bit of a ways in. So I'm just warping to the Crazy Village because it's it's the village with the terminal that's closest to the fast travel shrine, basically, because otherwise, from any of the other ones, you would need to just travel further or go through a little mini dungeon backwards, and it's just not worth it. So we are going to be going to the Mountain of Horror, which is basically the last big area of the demon world, if you want to call it that. The Gate of Darkness, damn, what a... Whew. You're in for some serious business when you're standing in front of the Gate of Darkness, but I will say, be prepared. This is a fairly complex area compared to what we've seen so far, and just make sure that you're well-stocked and have a good party that you're comfortable with before you go into here, especially if you're the type of person who doesn't really like using guides or maps or anything like that. This is a pretty intricate area, and it's very easy to get lost here. Though if you're like me and you're using a map, you can make, maybe not quick work of this place, but it's very helpful for figuring out where you're supposed to be going. I usually like to play these games without maps and just kind of discover and explore as I go, but when I'm doing these Let's Plays, just for the sake of everyone's time, I feel like I've talked about this already, sorry if I'm a broken record again, but, just for the sake of not getting lost on camera and making you, making you watch me find my way, for God knows how long, I just decide to use the map and just go for the most straightforward route that I possibly can while still hitting on all the things that I find interesting and all the different side paths and all that. So, yeah, it's yet another cave, not a real fancy cavern-looking system here, though I guess, the tile set's pretty nice here. It does look appropriately dark and a little bit spooky for something called the Mountain of Horror. Which begins with something called the Gate of Darkness. I think we've seen this tile set before, actually, and thank you, random fly businessman. That's very goofy. I actually don't know what level of intelligence that NPC is measuring for. I have a feeling that NPC is there so that you can gauge if your main character is capable of equipping the intelligence stat-locked equipment in the game, because there's a few pieces of equipment like that. But if you don't know that, and you just randomly walk there, that NPC just hitting the party with, "Oh yeah, y'all seem very intelligent," is very funny. Oh, goodness. But no, I feel like we've seen this tile set, or at least a very similar tile set earlier on in the game, but I really dig the purple floor here. This game is very good shading, too, just with the how the floors are drawn. That gradient, it's very nice and easy on the eyes to look at. Uh-oh, it seems like we have run into one of the most loathed enemies in Megami Tensei history, Gira Mikawa, making its debut appearance here in Megami Tensei II, and is well known throughout the series for being very annoying to fight, for one reason. Basically, in every Megami Tensei game that you run into a Gira Mikawa, you can expect it to repel all physical attacks, sending the attack back to the attacker, dealing massive damage, especially if you are a main character who has been optimized for physical attacking. A very, very dangerous foe, especially to those who are not knowledgeable about its defensive properties. You're just going to have a better time escaping. If you really want to whittle away at it with magic, you can do so. I actually don't know if you can use guns on it and if that'll work. Asuka died somewhere in the mix there for some reason. I believe she may have been hit by a... I don't exactly know what exactly happened. I think I skipped over it in the editing, but I think she may have been hit by an instant death spell, unfortunately. But yeah, Gira Mikawa making its debut appearance here, and already making a strong impression on players with the physical attack reflection all the way this early on in the series, which I just find it incredibly funny that they have kept with that all the way up into the modern day with that enemy. And it appears that we have a little break in the dungeon here, where we have reached the Fly Village, which, if I recall off the top of my head, this is actually the last village in the game. And if you really, really want, you can buy some very expensive guns for your two characters, but I don't actually even remember if I bother, because you reach a point where I think it just makes more sense to use the main character's physical attacks, because especially if you're using the really good items you can get for them, or the really good weapons, rather, you're going to be doing, like, multi-hit attacks anyways, so that'll chew through groups, and the heroine is going to mostly want to use spells if you want to deal with the group fast, so... I don't know, guns I feel like kind of lose their purpose, and that Fly NPC is once again dropping some good information and lore for us to just make note of. So, you may remember, I believe back in the Lands of Rage, we had the option to go into that bar and buy a bunch of different types of food, and we bought a gorgeous set, and we did that so that we could trade that guy his Palace Stone for the gorgeous set, because he was starving, and, you know, going off of what that other Fly NPC said, Palace Stone might be related to the Palace Ring, which we're going to need to use to go to Lucifer's castle there, so... But yeah, other than that, kind of a, not a lot to talk about with this dungeon. I was going to say kind of a clunker of a dungeon, but I don't know. I think it's perfectly serviceable for this point in the game, but it's a little forgettable, maybe, compared to some of the other endgame stuff that we've both experienced already and stuff on the horizon. It just, never really left much of an impression on me. It doesn't help that by this point in the game, I feel like all the different areas kind of have their own gimmicks to them. Like when we went to the Lands of Rage and fought Malak, there was a whole side quest about rescuing a fairy child, and we had to cross a bridge and go through a bunch of caverns to get to the place, and, you know, the Forest of Confusion last episode, we had Asuka getting kidnapped, all that sort of stuff, and this is just a big old dungeon. And there's one gimmick kind of towards the end, but even then, it's not much to write home about, and it just never left much of an impression on me. Got another speed incense. We are getting pretty close to max stats in all the key areas for both of our characters. I believe Asuka already has 35 in 2 different stats. I'm sure I'm gonna check. Yeah, I checked. Let's look right here. Yeah, Takuma's real beefy and basically everything but luck. And I believe Asuka already has 35 in vitality and intellect. Yep. And could maybe go for a little bit more speed. Strength I'm not so much worried about, but, you know, it helps. So, but our characters are basically good to go and ready to tackle everything left in the game at this point. Every little level up from here on out helps, I suppose, but we have pretty good stats for tackling the rest of the game. Past a point, it's more a level of, or it's more a matter of equipment loadout than it is your actual stats here, because I'm sure the stats make a difference this late into the game, obviously, how you decided to build your character, especially in terms of what types of equipment they can equip, because some of it is locked to different types of stats and whatnot, but, you know, I think it all kind of evens out in terms of just blow for blow how much damage you're doing, your turn order and stuff like that, unless you've really been neglecting one stat or the other. I think you'll be fine. Except against this bastard, who we're just gonna need to keep running away from Elephant the Elephant, and just try not to deal with that bullshit, because we have better things to do with our lives. I think it is, it's kind of weird there's a gas mask in here, not gonna lie. But, I think that, and I'm not even gonna equip it, I don't think, because, or am I? Am I gonna equip the gas mask? I think I am. Yeah, I think that's technically better than the mirror mask. I was about to say, I think that's technically not that great, but no, we're gonna swap out our masks here, so Asuka's gonna get the mirror mask, and Takuma's gonna get the gas mask, and look like a creepypasta character. But yeah, as I was saying, I feel like a lot of people, would probably say that the fact that there's just a lot of annoying enemies in, or just annoying encounters in general in these later dungeons, that it's just probably less annoying to just run away from. Some people might consider that a flaw in the game's design, but I actually think that's to the game's credit. I kind of hate it sometimes when I'm playing through an RPG and I never have an excuse to use the run command unless I'm really in the threat of dying. I like it sometimes, running into specific enemies or specific threats and just being like, I don't really feel like dealing with this, or it's just more strategically viable right now for me to run and just save my resources, and it's always been something that I've really liked when RPGs include. Same with the guard command. I don't really use guard command a lot in these Let's Plays just because I don't have a lot of reason to most of the time, but I like it when a game gives me a good excuse to guard and defend in battle. One game that I think really did a good job with that, actually, was Legend of Dragoon. Which actually gives you a minor heal when you use the guard command, which I thought was always a really good idea, and I'm surprised I haven't seen more RPGs do that. I'm sure there's been others that have done that I'm just not thinking of right now, but I always thought Legend of Dragoon handled that really well. So, we have reached the major gimmick of this dungeon. We are going to go back to the overworld map and have to walk through this dark area where we just can't see anything. I tend to kind of roll my eyes when RPGs do this sort of thing just because there's not much of a challenge here per se. It's just a lot of fumbling around until you find where you need to go. So it's quite easy to get lost and turned around here. If you ever get lost, just to reorient yourself, try to head back south so that you can get to that green water, and you can kind of just use that as a guidepost for where you need to go. As you can see, I have no idea where the hell I'm going. I probably should have paid a little bit closer attention to the map before I started walking around. But basically what you're trying to do from the area that you start from as soon as you enter this dark area is you want to head north, and then head a little bit to the northwest to just kind of curve around some obstacles in your path, and then head due east so that you can reach the last part of the dungeon. It's pretty simple and honestly pretty straightforward and fast if you know exactly how you need to move. But if you're like me and are just a little gung-ho about it, it's very easy to just get looped around and not have a good time. You can see I'm editing my little journey through here as I realized I was completely off course. So again, went to the south to reorient myself. And we got back to square one. So, what we're doing, heading a little bit to the west, a little bit north, and yeah, kind of eventually stumbled our way here into this corridor, which as soon as you stumble into it, you're going to just be warped into the area where you need to go. It's not going to prompt you to go inside or prompt you for the door command like, you know, it did when we got back to the original place. So that's how you can differentiate the start from the end of the dark section, is the start has a door and the end does not. So we got Medusas in here too, unfortunately. Be mindful of that. Try not to get petrified. There are some pretty good chests, I believe, towards the end of this dungeon here too, that I believe we're gonna take some time to pick up. And also, this part of the dungeon likes to throw some darkness tiles at you, so you can't exactly see where you're going here either. Using Mapara and just making use of your map in general is going to be a good way to deal with that, and those dark sections don't last too long, thankfully, so you're not going to be fumbling around as much as you were outside. But yeah, that dark section was really the only notable thing about this dungeon. I guess the fact that it has a town inside of it is pretty unique in terms of this game's typical dungeon format, but even then, there's not a lot to it. I guess it has the shop with the best guns in the game, but that's really it. And technically there's a side quest, or I guess the important quest there in the form of that NPC we need to trade the gorgeous set for. or with to get the Palace Stone, but just not a very interesting area overall, in my opinion. And you can see we're using Mapar here to just get through this corridor and not be running into walls and going through those side areas too much, because most of them just got nothing in them. But yeah, this is really this dungeon in a nutshell. Stumble around in the dark until you find the way you need to go. And that tile has a warp that we're going to need to go to, so that we can loop around here, walk down these stairs. Eventually, must have taken the time to look at the map here. Keep going down. Once again, looking at the green wall, but not for long as we stumble into more darkness. I don't get the point of having those corridors that are dark, because, you know, I kind of get it if it's more of an open area or more of a maze-like structure that you can get lost in, but when you're just doing a straight shoot corridor, and it's not really a straight shoot because there's curves and stuff, but if you're just basically doing a corridor that sometimes has, like, little one-room, like, off-branches to it, it's less, like, I don't know, it's not very... I don't know if that justifies the usage of low visibility tiles in a dungeon crawler. I think that's a little corny, because you're mostly just running into walls then at that point. But I digress. Leveling up once again with Asuka. Trying to get to 30 speed. Not sure how close we get to maxing that out by the time the game ends. We're getting pretty close to the end here, so I don't know if I hit max stats in some of those other minor areas, such as speed and whatnot for both of the characters. Getting a little tired of fighting that same enemy type over and over again. Though I suppose it's better to fight that than run to another Gira Mikawa, so I can't really complain. And here's our boy again. Uh-oh, that's no good. Fortunately, in terms of actual attacks, Gira Mikawa's not really an enemy you have to worry too much about, as you can see. It's really just more annoying, because it slowly has to scroll through as the roar does damage to every member of the party. Just keep mashing on that escape button, and yeah, you're gonna get away fine. More corridors of fun, excitement to go through. Dungeon is maybe overstaying its welcome a little bit, but we were able to go through the side area to get a Sacred Bell, which is nice. Always a good idea to stock up on revival items. Ultra Eyes, there we go. That's another mask to equip. Wonder what Ultra Eyes look like. Are they just really good sunglasses, or are they safety goggles? I actually like to think that they're Ultra Eyes, so they're probably like a weird little visor that looks like the weird eye bulbs that the Ultraman characters have. That'd be fun. Look like a little bug-eyed weirdo. Keep running into this elephant bastard. Just keep trying to escape. Not having a good time. There we go. That Gremory enemy made us happy, though that wore off after a few steps, thankfully. Happy is one of those status elements in this game where I get it, and I'm just like, I don't care enough to... I mean, that's a lot of status elements in this game. Like, Bylong's asleep right now, And I'm just like, yeah, you can shake that off. We don't need to cure that. That'll go away on its own eventually. Just take some Advil. You'll be fine. We are so close to the end. And we made it! Look at that. That is quite the design for our buddy Beelzebub here. But what's this? Our good old frog companion is finally once again relevant to the plot. So, if you want the good ending, click yes. And there we have it. He now looks way less cool, but he is now going to assist us on our quest. Sometimes you're just hanging out with your buds, and you run into a demon that's been sundered in two by the one true God, and you decide to help them merge back up together and create a whole demon again. And they're like, hey, let's go hang out with Lucifer. And you're like, yeah, let's do that. So, Ball is going to be joining our party as a pretty solid demon companion, actually. Unlike Bale, who was just a frog that was kind of in our inventory nebulously. Ball has some pretty good healing spells. Stats are okay, not the best. Not the greatest attacker or anything by any means, and not even the tankiest demon in the world, but comes with Mediahan and Diarahan, which are both going to be very useful for healing up the party, and also Samarikharm, which is going to help us revive our allies when they fall in battle. So, very good demon to have on hand for the final stretch of the game here, and we're going to be making good use of those abilities as we continue on our journey and things come to a close. So, yeah, next time around, we are going to take the time to close up our journey through the demon world, finally go to Lucifer's temple and see what the deal is with the big man Lucy himself. And yeah, we'll see what happens from there. Have a good one, everyone. See you later.